Hello, saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Welcome to the Awakening Women podcast. I'm your host, Leanne Oaten, and former therapist with a background in counseling psychology. This podcast is for strong, high-achieving women who want more in their lives and relationships, who are ready to rise to the next level of growth, healing, and evolution. Nothing changes until you change. And when you change, everything else changes around you as a result. If you're done with feeling powerless within the chaotic and toxic dynamics in your relationship and don't even know where to begin with making changes, I've got you covered. I know you've tried everything, including counseling, watching hours of videos, and reading stacks of books on narcissism, and find that all it does is leave you feeling even more stuck and in the same place. None of these things work when you're living with a narcissistic spouse because the root causes of the symptoms are not being addressed. As with physical health, there is an emotional, physical, spiritual, and psychological component to healing and overcoming the problematic symptoms and pain you're facing every day in your life and relationship. If you're ready for a direct, no fluff, no nonsense approach to take you into your personal power and take back your life, you are in the right place. Let's get started with today's episode. This episode is for you if you are in a struggling relationship, whether you believe it is narcissistic abuse you're experiencing or you're not really sure. You think that might be what you're experiencing, but all you know is something really horrible is going on and you don't know which end is up. So we're going to chat today, especially if you think that it's really not that bad, or you question if it's really not that bad, or if you wonder if staying would be easier and leaving would just be worse. So it's really important to realize that it is very difficult to see the reality of something when you are still in it, especially when it comes to abuse and mental manipulation and coercion and gaslighting and lying and all that goes on in these relationships that point toward a relationship that is not workable, that is not fixable. There are things in relationships that I believe are fixable, and yes, I do believe people can change if they want to change. If they want to have a healthy relationship, they will make adjustments, and there are certain requirements in order for that to be the case. But if you are just living on potential that maybe it's not that bad and maybe he could actually change for good this time, or maybe, I need to just focus on his good points or the things that are good about our situation, whatever that is, list those out if you need to. I know that for many women, when they go to do this, they have very little luck with coming up with a long list of like why I stay, why it's a good thing for me, why this is a good thing. Usually it comes down to something about finances, something about kids, fear of being alone, fear of not being able to do it on their own. And this is the mindset paradigm that you are stuck in because you don't see another way. And then when you do try to break free or start to exert some freedom and boundaries, the mental manipulation is designed to keep you small, to keep you scared, to keep you stuck, to keep you staying, to keep you within their control. And then you start believing, going into the loop of, I wouldn't be able to do this on my own. Maybe it's not that bad. Maybe it's worse. Maybe there's nothing better for me out there. This is really important. It's to realize that nothing and no one, no relationship, not even your children, and this is going to sound drastic, not even your children, trying to keep the family together for them, that is still not worth you losing your mental clarity. Literally losing your mind, losing your faculties, losing your ability to think straight, to trust yourself, to think nothing is real, to not know what end is up, to not know what's truth, what's not anymore, to start spiraling into a depression and dark thoughts and feeling confused and heavy and full of anxiety and all this guilt that you don't know what to do with, to feel muddled, to feel that dark, heavy energy of being with someone like this. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to go see people. You don't want to work on your business or improve your career or exercise or see friends or see people because you feel like shit, because this dark energy is literally like a dark, heavy cloak hanging over top of you. You just don't see how bad it is because you're in it. And so the gaslighting adds on to the, am I getting this wrong? Like, is this really that bad? Maybe it is me. And ladies, this is your work. This is all of our work to realize that we do this to ourselves. We say, am I too sensitive? Am I asking for too much? Is it just me? Maybe it is me. I have a problem. And so this is my thing to fix because I have a problem and they don't seem to have the same problem. We're not seeing things. We think our perceptions are wrong. We allow ourselves to be gaslit. And so these are the cycles that we continue to stay in, not realizing that, yes, actually, life will be better when I'm not in this anymore. I just can't see it right now because I'm stuck in this negative paradigm, this negative loop that keeps me here. And so in order to change our circumstances, we have to be willing to let go of certain aspects. We have to be willing to let go of what's no longer working in order to reach for something more. And we can't do this when we're hanging on to this toxic dynamic, this toxic life that we are settling for. Does this mean if you were to leave your marriage, long-term relationship, heck, you might have been with this person half your life, for most of your life. You have kids, you have businesses, you have a home, you have other financial links to this person. So yeah, I'm not denying that that is really complicated. Yes, it is. When you have kids with one of these personalities, yes, it's brutal. Trying to quote unquote co-parent with one of these personalities, yes, it's impossible. Does all the problems go away, especially when you have kids? No. And do some things get harder? To a degree. But you have to strengthen yourself to the place where you are willing to say, I have got this on my own. I don't need this person anymore. You don't need it. And things become more about, what are the things that are worth the fight? What are the things that you will not back down for? And you won't realize how bad it is until you're not in it. Unfortunately, that's the thing that really makes it tough. And so some women in ETC, I was on a coaching call with them recently, and what the theme was of that was how differently you feel when you're out of their dark energy. So when you get a chance to be away from them for a few days, or if they work away, or you have weeks, or you get to go away, you notice that a lot of the symptoms that you have when you're in it dissipate. And you might not even realize that either, right? You just kind of operate in a fog. But notice what it's like living in this environment. Notice where your mind goes, your energy. Do you have motivation? Do you feel like seeing people, being social, going for a walk, eating properly, taking care of yourself? The other thing that comes up a lot for women in these relationships is that they start to despise gifts. They start to despise flowers, jewelry, things being bought for them, because it has become a transaction, a way to say, let's wipe the slate clean of what an asshole I was here, there, and everywhere. And here's some flowers, or here's some jewelry, or here's this, or here's that. Here, I'm going to help you in the house more. I'm going to do the things. I'm going to clean up after myself for a little while. I'm actually going to quote unquote help you around here when you've been asking for my involvement for however long. And then you start to see that this is a pattern that does not stick. It doesn't last. And often so many other things are going on in behind the scenes when they are going through this is like a hallmark of these relationships of like they've finally seen the light and they get it and they want to change and they want to save the relationship and they want you to get back together with them and everything's going to be fine. They're working on it, but you can't expect perfection. Like, is it never good enough for you? And I'm working on it, so that means you should still be giving me hugs and kisses and sex and all the wife things that I deserve because I'm trying. And if you don't give those to me, you're going to pay for that. If you don't give me that affirmation, you're going to pay for that. And I expect you to continue doing things that a wife does, even though you just told me I want a divorce or I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm going to keep pushing that boundary on you because what I say goes and how I see things is the reality. And so when you're living in that all the time, it is so hard to grasp mentally what is actually happening. So the confusion and fog is so thick, you literally question, is it that bad? And I say to women, the more that is happening, the deeper the level of mental manipulation that has gone on, the deeper in that you've gone, the deeper you've gone into the hole, and you need to start taking steps to pull yourself out of that hole mentally, emotionally, psychologically, subconsciously, all of it, because nothing will change until something changes. And the change has to be within you, right? Nothing's going to necessarily change externally for very long, at least. You will always return back to your dominant way of being, your habitual way of being, and not knowing like where it is that you get hooked back in, where you kind of lose yourself again. And so looking at it just from the social point of view of it's coming up the holidays, maybe there's gatherings and you've been invited to things, but you are hesitant, you don't want to go with them because you feel like you have to force yourself to act out a role around other people. So maybe you don't want to go to these social events, or you'd rather go alone, or you don't have any energy or bandwidth to even go and socialize. And so you further isolate. You further sit in the same soup of, this is my life, I have no choice, this isn't that bad, because you don't have anything else outside of your reality to compare it to. So one of the things I hear, over and over and over and over again from women in my coaching groups, and the power of being in groups with other women that are in the same place and working towards similar goals, is that, oh my God, how you were just speaking, it was me. And I'm not happy that you're going through this, but now I know I'm not crazy. Like, to actually hear another person articulate better than you could what you're experiencing, that's power. That's what you need. You need those other frames of reality to go, oh, yeah, this is that bad. This really is that bad, and I'm not crazy. This is not me. This is violence. This is abuse. This is coercion. This is gaslighting and manipulating. And when you have someone from the outside mirroring that to you, whether it's a coach, a therapist that understands, or other women going through it, that you suddenly don't feel so crazy because you're like, I'm not the only one. And this person just put everything I've been living into words. And it's this pressure that drops of, it's not me. This isn't me. And so therefore, if it's not me, I can't fix it. And yes, it is really that bad. So to wrap this up, a reminder that no relationship and no person or anything is worth losing your mind over, literally, like your mental faculties. If you check in, you'll be able to say, yes, I can't think straight, I can't make decisions, I'm confused, I'm living in a daze, I'm in a fog, I'm just operating from the neck up, I'm floating through life in survival mode, I'm not even in my body, and I don't even know what's right or wrong, up or down, left or right anymore. I don't know if I'm coming or going. Nothing is worth that trauma, and nothing is worth the damage that this causes to your children by staying in this relationship. Yes, they are definitely much better off when they have reprieve from this relationship dynamic if you are in this. And they're much better off because you are going to be better off. You are mentally going to be better off. Will you have other challenges? Hell yes. Will life just suddenly be easy peasy walk in the park? No. Especially if you have kids with one of these people. You can't expect that it's all just going to be rainbows and butterflies. No, but you will be better. You will be able to handle it better. Your bandwidth will widen. Your ability to focus and know reality and know right from wrong will be better. You will be able to spot the manipulation, the gaslighting, the intentional ways of triggering and dragging things out and fucking with you. You'll be able to recognize it, and you have the ability to draw a line and say, nope. Not doing that. Getting to a place where you start to have your boundaries very solid, as to what you're going to allow and not allow into your space. So what living in this type of dynamic does to your mind is frightening. And I see this with women when I'm coaching them is this utter inner instability, because they don't know what's right or wrong. They think they're the problem. They think that they are asking for too much, or that they're reading something wrong. They feel crazy, like they're losing their minds. Nothing is worth that. So it's a matter of realizing that, yes, in order to get to the other side, to have the mental clarity, to have the health, to re-nourish my relationships with others and myself, to put the focus on my career goals or business goals, my financial goals, to be able to be the parent that I want to be, that means I have to let go of something. And that's the hard reality of transformation, is we have to let go of our old way of being to step into the new. But if you have a death grip on what's happening now, and you're too afraid to go into the unknown, which all of us are, there's not anyone that I've ever met that's like, I love the unknown. I love jumping into the unpredictable and not knowing what's coming. I don't know anybody like that. I've never been like that. I like to know what's coming. And as humans, our brains are wired to want predictability. We want to know what's coming and what's happening. And so when we're met with something that we don't know what's coming on the other side, our tendency is to protect ourselves from that and avoid that and hide out, because we don't know what's coming. We don't know if it's going to be better or worse when we start taking steps and moving in the direction of something different. But in order to have something different, we need to be willing to let go of what we have. So I will leave that with you. Hopefully that inspires you to take some different action this week, and I'll chat with you in the next episode. Bye for now. Thanks so much for tuning in to this edition of the Awakening Women podcast. If you love this episode, please take a moment to share it and leave a 5-star rating and review. If you're ready to take your next step, head to the link in the show notes to sign up for my latest free class. Also, be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Awakening Women Official and join the conversation. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you again in the next episode. Take care of yourself in the meantime, and I'll see you online.
Today, we discuss Miro. Today, I want to talk about the hellscape that is technical diagramming, right? Everybody's nodding their heads right now, And there is a potential solution that I want to share. There was one name that several people brought up. I did some digging, and it's kind of nuts how much this program Miro has for developers. I have to share this. It could potentially be a game changer for you. So my favorite part about Miro is that half the work is already done. Like right now, typically we spend hours starting diagrams from scratch, gathering information. You get buy-in from every team. That's a lot of work to do. But Miro has a full set of integrations with the tools you're probably already using. And they also offer open APIs and SDKs for custom solutions for all those niche diagramming use cases we have to do, right? So the end result is the same, but it doesn't take forever. It's a massive, massive time saver. I'm transforming basic flowcharts and network architectures, and it all lives in one place. So are you using Miro? Have you used it? I want to hear. That's Miro.com.